Have you ever bought something, got it home, and thought, it looks cool, but I'm just disappointed with its performance? Well, thankfully, MEEPO have listened, and in my opinion, have made a far superior, far better electric surf skate. Before we start the review video though, we have to acknowledge the blaringly obvious. It looks a lot like a brand we won't mention. Stoked. You can't get away from that. I know it looks like that. I acknowledge that. I'm not ignoring it. But the performance and the specs, I think, personally, outweigh the fact that it looks very, very similar. We're going to judge the board on its performance, its power, and how it rides, and I'll let you guys be the judge if it's worth buying.
Scotty. Who's Scotty?
Okay, so but let's start the video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Scott Davies. I'd love to review electric skateboards. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoy this content or you find it useful, make sure you hit the like button as well. During this video, we're going to be reviewing the MEEPO Flow. Obviously, we'll talk about its performance, its specs, how it rides, how it feels, how it looks, all that sort of thing. I'll point out a couple of things I think could be different or better or improved. And during the video, at one point, we're also going to do the live draw, or a draw, for a brand new MEEPO V3S. So if you've entered that competition that's been running now for 3 weeks, you could be winning a brand new board today. So let's jump into the review. Let's go for a ride around Brisbane. It's a little bit nippy in the shadows, so we'll try to stay in the sun, and let's just have a fun ride. Kick off and talk about the deck of the MEEPO Flow. It is just under 35 inches, 34 point something. A really nice length for a surf skate. It's got a really nice width with a beautiful tail. The board's made of 6 layers of Canadian maple and 2 layers of bamboo. So it's strong, but it's going to absorb some of that vibration on that road. Alright, now the ESC that the Flow is coming with is the Hobby Wing. I know we're all shocked. The MV started off the trend. The Flow is continuing. I believe it is the same ESC and remote that's in the MV, so it's got really nice power, good top speed. This will do well over 50 kilometers per hour. I think they quote 32 miles per hour top speed. I'm not going to go anywhere near that on double kingpins. I don't ride them enough to be proficient on a double kingpin board like that. But free spin, it gets well above that without me on it. So I believe it will do it with the right weighted rider. Now, you probably can't see it because it's flickering, but it's 35 miles it's reading there. Take off 5, I guess. You'd be pretty close to what they're quoting for my body weight. All right, next I want to show you the acceleration and braking on the Flow. It's got 2,519 watt motors times 2, so it's got lots of power. And it has that Molicel P42 battery, which we'll talk about next. It has really, really nice acceleration for a surf skate or a mini board or a medium board, let's call it. 3, 2, 1. Oh. 13, 14, 15, manhole, 18, 21, 22, that's 24 miles an hour. So it gets up really, really, really quickly. Now let me show you the braking, because with a whole lot of go, you need a whole lot of whoa. 20 miles an hour, 3, 2, 1. Oh. Okay, really smooth and really strong. Nowhere near as strong as a Vesk, obviously, but 100% Hobby Wing is getting better with their brakes. take a quick minute and just talk about the wheels on the Flow, because I haven't seen these wheels before. They're 105 millimeters with a 65 millimeter contact patch, and they're 72A durometer. So they're really nice and soft. You can see the back of that wheel, having the holes all the way around. They are really, really forgiving when it comes to sidewalks and cracks and corrugations. They feel really nice to ride. Nowhere near as good as a pneumatic, obviously, but for a urethane, they're a really, really nice wheel, and I think a perfect choice for this board. While we're sitting here, I might as well show you the enclosure as well, because this is another area MEEPO's taken the time to think about. It blends in with the board beautifully. The bottom of the deck is black, the enclosure is black. It's very low profile. There's your ESC, nice heatsink with a really nice shiny embossed MEEPO logo. Those really nice motor connectors, you can probably just see there. They've been using these on the last 2 or 3 boards. I've heard and seen 0 complaints about them coming loose or breaking or getting in the way. And in the center down the bottom there, you can see the power button just below the MEEPO logo. But like most hobby wings, you won't need to use that very often because it has auto on with the remote control when you use it within 1 to 2 days. All right, here's something else that's really cool, and a question I get asked a lot. Can you kick push it when it goes flat? Well, yeah, you can. This is the case with most skateboards, but this one seems to roll really freely. I think it's because of the 105 mil wheels. Here's the remote. The board's turned off. Now, I'm only gonna give it a couple of pushes to get moving, and you'll see the free roll is really nice. So 1, 2, there's very little friction there. Cover off the battery, because this is again another big step up for this particular board type. They're using Molicel P42A cells, 21700, so really our cream of the crop at the moment. It's a 12S2P configuration, so they want to keep that enclosure nice and slim and keep that board weight to about 11 kilos, I believe. It's 362 watt hours or 8.4 amp hours. So they reckon this will give you around 24 kilometers range. All right, now let's talk about ride comfort, usability, and how you would incorporate this into your daily life. Like, how would you use this electric skateboard? Well, first of all, the ride quality. It's really nice. They're double kingpin trucks, so you would expect to get some speed wobbles. They come with 100A durometer bushing, so they are a little bit stiff or hard, but that adds to the safety factor, I think. I haven't had a single speed wobble yet. I've got up to 25 miles per hour, and the board feels really stable, but you can still do those tight hooks when you need to. Side note, big hill coming. This is going to be a nice test for the MEEPO's power. Let's see how these 2,519 watt motors go. Rough bit of the street there. All right, let's see. Not a problem. I'll put your sight on, so hopefully you can capture the gradient. This lens never shows how steep it is. You can tell from this white wall here, you'll be able to see the gradient behind me, hopefully. And there's that tight turn I was just talking about. So hill climb on the Flow, not an issue at all. It does really, really well. Turning with those double kingpin trucks, also really, really nice. But because of the 100A durometer bushings, also quite stable, surprisingly stable. All right, so I've just found another hill, and I know I've already done a hill test, but I think this one will push the flow to its limits, and I don't know if we will actually make it all the way. It starts already on an incline, and it looks to be, I would say, at least 200 to 300 meters long. So let's see how it goes. No cuts, no kick pushes. I've got the board resting against the island. That's how steep it is. And let's see how we go. Acceleration. Okay, a little bit slow off, but it is steep. But we are accelerating. You can see the incline behind me on the walls probably. 14 miles an hour there. 16, we're accelerating. We're not losing speed, we're actually gaining speed, which is pretty incredible when you see how steep the street is in real life. Still going, 18 miles an hour. It is getting steeper. We are waning a little bit. We've just lost 1 mile. We're on 17 miles now. 16, but we are still climbing. Straight line all the way to the top. Woo, man. For a $699 skateboard to be able to do that blows my mind. Let me show you behind me, give you an idea of how high we just climbed. All right, just for any locals, the street name is Toorak Road. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So if you want to Google, if you know it, you can comment or you can come and test your board as well. Morning. Climb test done. Let's get back to what we were talking about, which is the rideability of the MEEPO Flow. Well, as you can probably tell by the fun I'm having, it's very rideable. It's enjoyable. The tail is perfect. There's very little concave, but there's just enough, if that makes sense. You're not going to get achy feet from a really aggressive concave on the board. And that tail with no flex at all gives you a lot of stability and confidence just to pop those wheels over cracks, corrugations, little slippery bits, whatever you come across. All right, turning circle test. It's very tight. I'm getting nowhere near wheel bite there at all. And this is like a whirling dervish. Dervish? I can't say it. You know what I mean. If you don't, Google it. Really nice tight turning circle. They've raised that deck just enough to give you the confidence to really carve on this board and not worry too much about wheel bite. Something else they've included is this really nice motor guard that's going to add longevity and protect your motors, not just from stones and stuff, but when you do use the tail and you kick it up, it's going to hit that guard first. It's not going to hit the motors at all. It's going to protect it, and you're going to be able to kick it up as much as you want and never worry about it hitting your motors. Okay, before we get to the end and summarize the board, let's quickly do the draw for the brand new MEEPO V3S shipped to someone by MEEPO. If you're in the draw, you could be winning a brand new electric skateboard right now. Now I'm going to paste the link into the comment picker, and I'm adding the names of all of my Patreon supporters, because if you're a Patreon supporter, one of the conditions is you get an entry in every single competition. So we've done that. We're going to filter duplicate users, because you can only enter once, obviously. We're going to record the screen, so the screen is recording. So there's the link, filter duplicates, get random comment. Who is the winner going to be? It is eSkateNL. Now, I don't personally know this person, but he comments on lots of my videos, and I see him in the community a lot. So congratulations. Did he answer the question? First board will be an Ace Deck Nomad when it finally arrives. Keep up the great reviews, Scott. So that's really nice. His first board ever is a Nomad, which is a little bit crazy. It's kind of like going out and buying a Ferrari for your first car. Be very careful, eSkateNL. But you have won a brand new MEEPO V3S. And we'll give your details to MEEPO, and they will ship you a brand new board to your address. So let's wrap up the MEEPO Flow. Let me tell you the pros and the couple of very small cons. So really good battery, really simple, reliable ESC, Really nice trucks, really nice deck, awesome wheels. It is a really well polished, well thought out electric skateboard for $699. I think that's their recommended retail. It could be the sale price. That's what it is right now. Plus, if you use Scott D, you get a little bit extra off. But it's not all roses. There are a couple of small opportunities or gripes I have with the board. Absolutely nothing major, nothing of a safety concern, just I wish they would consider changing this. And I'll tell you what they are right now. Okay, the very first one, and it's super simple, and as I said, it's not a deal breaker at all. I can replace this for about $19, is this tail grip. Looks lovely, it's grippy, it does the job, but they've used a foam-based one. So this is after about 50 kilometers of me riding, it's already starting to come away a little bit. If they got a slightly more premium one, a rubberized one, it would wear a lot longer and it wouldn't have these bits coming off it. Not a big deal, but I have to point it out. And my last one, it is one that I've mentioned a few times lately on shortboards, and that is nose and tail protectors. I can't imagine if they're gonna make, say, 1,000 at a time, they would cost that much extra, but some sort of little guard, they've done it on the V5 and I think on the V3S perhaps, needs a nose guard so when you pick it up by the tail, the nose doesn't hit the ground. So you don't want that smacking into the ground and getting all marked up, and vice versa, when you use your kick to pick it up, it wouldn't be hard to have a nice little tail puck here and here, two little tail pucks there and there, so when you kick it up, the plastic hits instead of the wood. It's just something I've mentioned a lot lately, and I hope companies start to add them onto all of their mini boards. All right guys, but that is the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the like button and you've left a comment about the board, and don't forget to skate safe, wear a helmet, and we'll see you on the next video.
Scotty. Who's Scotty?